Hi guys, what I want to do with this video is this is kind of an add-on to the previous video that I just did about the difference between what we would do in training versus what we would do at a hunt test or hunting or at a field trial, and why what we would do would be different. The other video, what I did was I give a kind of an advanced concept of how that would apply. Here I want to talk about something at a little more of a basic level, and that's steadiness. In other words, the dog sits here until we release it to make the retrieve, rather that be on an honor or if our dog is the working dog. And the difference between what we may do at an event or hunting versus what we would do in training. If I'm at an event or at a hunt test, or I'm hunting, and let's say I'm the honor dog at a hunt test, and the rule states that says I can quietly talk to the dog to keep them in the honor position. So when I'm there in the honor position, I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make sure the dog doesn't break, because I'm there to get the ribbon. So I'm going to say sit, 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 whatever. I'm going to do whatever I need to do within the rules to get the dog to stay there. These are what we would call helps. We're helping the dog, reminding the dog to do what it already knows to do, and we're hoping that has some kind of an effect so they're staying put at the test and they don't break. Or if we're hunting and a bunch of ducks are coming in, well, we're not there to train and create a bunch of chaos or problems, because we're there to shoot some ducks. So I'm going to handle that by reminding the dog, sit, 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 as maybe the birds are coming in. We're doing these helps because we're there for different reasons than we are for training. Versus in training, what I'm going to do, now again, we're talking about dogs that already know this totally. We're not talking about teaching. We're talking about dogs that thoroughly know what we're asking them to do and have just decided not to do it for whatever that reason may be. So in training, I put them in the sit position if it's an honor, or if they're the working dog. And I'm not really giving them any of these helps. I'm not going to try to help them stay there. So I'm not going to go sit, 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 hoping they don't break. I'm going to say sit, leave the dog there. If it's an honor, whatever you do to cue them that this is an honor and they're not to do anything else, so rather that's a no bird or whatever. Whatever you do to tell the dog you no longer can move until I've released you. So I would say sit, and then I would not do any other thing, give them any other cue to help them stay there. So as the birds went down and things began to happen, if they broke that sit or stay, I would make the appropriate correction, because I want to proof them on this and get them to the point where they're doing that without me having to give them all this extra help. And then if I go to an event or I'm hunting and I need a little bit extra to remind them, that may make the difference. But if I'm always using those helps in training, when I go to the event, I may not have anything to fall back on. And again, this is not an end all, that this is always the way it's going to work perfectly if you do these things, but it's going to increase our chances a lot to get the proper response. So again, the idea in training for a dog that knows the task is to try to avoid the helps and see if they're going to do what they're supposed to do without us giving them all those helpful little cues that we may do to prevent them from getting into any trouble. So again, as I said last week, the idea in training is not to avoid the problem, it's to make the dog better. Where at an event or hunting, we want the result and the performance. We're not there to train. So I thought this may be helpful and would follow up with last week's video. So I hope you get something out of that. And again, I'd appreciate any feedback or comments that you may have. Shoot me an email and let me know what you think. Thanks.